Welcome to another edition of One More Light with me, Val Kleinhans. I have the lovely Alana Hewitt with me today. She's a content creator. She focuses on beauty, lifestyle content, and mental health, which is obviously why I gravitated toward her page, specifically Instagram. I'm about her gram. I love her gram. So, Alana, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat.
I know, me too. Well, since this is a mental health podcast, I guess we should start from the very beginning and focus mainly
Yeah,
on mental health.
for
Are
sure.
you comfortable sharing any of your mental health journey and what that has looked like for you?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So I more so started noticing some stuff up with like my mental health more when I was starting high school, like in like grade 9 mostly.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of went and saw like a local counselor that's like included with like Ontario's healthcare. So
Jealous.
yeah, and so it was called the youth center at the time. It's called something different now, but they help up to, I believe it's 25, so it's not just youth,
Mm-hmm.
with like free counseling, and I think they offer, I think it's a little bit similar to the Planned Parenthood, I believe is what it's called.
Oh yeah, in the
Yeah.
States we have Planned
Yeah.
Parenthood, and abortion is not the only thing they do. Let's just settle that
Yeah.
right now. But
Yeah.
and
That's
yes,
what
they
I
do. Right.
That's
So
what I
that
was
you're
saying. So they offer some
Mhm.
like healthcare stuff like that,
Yes,
like and
yes.
stuff. So it's a great program. I'm not too familiar with it now since I've been out of it for quite a while, but
Mm.
it's amazing.
Okay, so it started there, and in Canada, you have. Is it free access? Is it open to anybody? How does that work?
So it's free, but we do have a lot of like private stuff that's better. Like it's
Oh,
so
okay.
extremely hard to get into the free stuff because it's so backed up. And
Oh, like waiting
yeah,
lists. Okay.
yes, like I'm talking like at least a year kind of thing to see
Mm,
someone. So
dude.
a lot of people,
Yeah.
they always say like, Canada, oh, you got free healthcare. It's like we do, but there's a lot of limitations to it. So
Okay. Well, walk me through that because this American is like that sounds like a dream even in itself. I mean, we're paying out the
yeah,
we pay out the wazoo for the care that we do get, and we're on those
yeah,
waiting. So for
yeah,
us, and then we have the concept of health insurance that gets in between and what they will and won't cover and help you with as far as cost. It changes constantly. They change the rules. At least in Canada, there's like, how does that work? Do you?
so not
There,
everything is free. Like
okay.
we do have like health insurance and stuff like that. So not everything is included, but there's normally like kind of like a basis that's included, but if you like, the basis is very basic. It doesn't do too much.
Okay.
So if you need something more than that, you normally have to pay. So
Okay. So there's
have
a
to pay out of pocket, or your insurance covers it, but I don't have any insurance, so I just have to pay.
how is it not having insurance there? Is that hard for you or is that doable?
Well, I'm 24 and I still live with my mom.
Mhm.
So for a while there was a lot of stuff being included, but then I believe once I think it stopped when I turned 23, I believe, something around
Okay.
that age. Um, so yeah, my medication's $100 a month, which is a lot. It adds up, but I know there's lots worse out there.
Mhm.
I can't even remember what I was saying there for a sec.
Well, no, it's so
I lost my train of thought.
no, it happens all the time. Totally cool. So I guess in the States, we have this rule where you can be covered by your parents on their health insurance, or which is usually like through their employer until you're
Yeah.
26. So is that kind of what is that the same thing you're sort of talking about here, the Canada version? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But I think it's younger than that because I'm not included with
Okay. So you
like
think it might be
either of my
23.
parents at the moment. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
haven't been for a few years now.
Okay. And what's that
Mm.
like? Are you able to, do you feel like you're able to get what you need?
Like yes and no. Like
Mhm.
I probably should be doing more, to be honest, but
Mm,
I'm hesitant because I know it's such like a process to get to kind of thing.
Oh,
And
girl, and the
so I'm
cost.
like, it's like
Yes.
one of those things that I definitely needs to be at the top of my priority list, but it's kind of somewhere in the middle right now. But it
Yeah.
just because it's so draining to do. And I just find like, and I've talked to my doctor about this quite a few times, like my family doctor, it's so exhausting having to go to new people each time and like
Mm,
explain everything. Like it's so exhausting.
yeah.
And I, I, I feel like they should have like a file and then they can just do a little review before, because
Yeah.
it's mentally a lot just to go through like all of your trauma in like the first couple minutes of meeting someone. And
Right.
then at the end, they're like, okay, yeah, can't really do much for you anyways.
And you're
You know
like,
what I
what's this
mean? So
for?
it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
well, what was that for?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, that's annoying. I guess here maybe the Canada version is like you have your privatized quote unquote better care
Mhm.
where maybe once you get initiated into that your file maybe does it stay there once you like take that route because here in the States when you start with the hospital that's like they have your chart ready to go like immediately like and your information like stays there as long as you are a patient of that hospital, that doesn't really change. And then if you want your records to go to another hospital, they walk you through how to do that.
Yeah, we do have that. I just find the doctors don't read it.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yeah, like we do have that, but I find they always just want to hear it from you, kind of
Mm,
thing. Like they always want to hear it. It's like, oh, that was written 5 years ago. Maybe something has changed or something like that. But I'm like, it's just exhausting to repeat it so many times.
yeah. Well, would you mind? I know we're talking about repeating it, but what was going on at the time that made you decide to seek mental health care at all?
Yeah,
what were you feeling? What were you thinking? What were you going through?
I was always like a pretty like shy kid. Like I remember like always kind of clinging to my mom. Like I remember this one, I think it was like my third birthday party or something. We had it at my daycare that I was at the time, and I clung on to my mom the entire party. I wouldn't
Oh,
like I wouldn't play with any of my well, I'm sure I played with them a little bit, but I clung to my mom the entire time.
yeah.
Like I just but once I hit high school, because I went to the same elementary school from junior kindergarten all the way to grade 8 because we don't have like a middle school. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so I was very comfortable with the people that I was surrounded with at school. But once I hit high school, it was like a whole group of new people. And one my
That's
high school
hard.
is yeah, my high school is one of the biggest ones like in our town. So I want to say there was at least 500 grade nines at like that
What?
were like going, yeah. So it
Okay.
was just so many new faces, new many people, like new schedule kind of thing. And so like I was always anxious, but my social anxiety just went up a ton.
Well,
Like I
yeah,
was
you
just
get comfortable in one environment. You know the same group of people, you have those relationships established, and then all of a sudden you're thrown into a whole different world with completely new,
exactly.
different people. So, and for people listening that have no idea, you're in Toronto. So this is a big school in the Toronto area, right?
So I'm just outside of Toronto,
Oh, okay. Got it.
but yes, pretty much. Yeah. I'm from like a town just at like 40 minutes outside of Toronto, but yeah,
Okay.
same thing pretty much. Yeah. One of a large my school is actually connected my high school was actually connected to another high school as well. So
Oh,
there was
wow.
there was a Catholic high school and a public high school, and there was like thousands of kids there at the same it was yeah. I'm actually sitting in
Gosh.
front of it. I live right in front of the high school, so I'm like actually looking at it right now. It's always a great reminder.
Oh, well, it should be a reminder of where you've come from. So
For sure.
you've got that social anxiety happening.
Yeah.
What else?
So yeah, my big thing was mostly I was just worried about what other people were thinking because they didn't know me.
Mm,
There was other people, they knew me, they knew what I did, like how I acted, and they knew why I was at, you know what I mean? They knew me.
mhm.
So my biggest thing was I was always just worried about what the other person was thinking about me. Like if they were like, oh, like why does her hair look like that today? Or like, oh, those shoes, she's like just very little things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They
We all
eat
go
at
through that.
you, right? And yeah. So but one I remember the thing that so I kind of went through that for quite a few years, but I remember I got one piece of advice from the youth center, and it was like when you're in that kind of situation, like you're at school, you're standing there, you're looking around, and there's like all these people, and you're worried about what they're thinking. They're not worried about you. They're
Right.
doing the exact same thing. They're thinking the exact
Yes.
same thing about themselves. They have no time to be worrying about what you're doing because they are worried about the exact same thing.
Hmm.
And
So
I was
true.
like, you know what? That's so true. Like, why was I thinking I'm the only one here that's thinking that? Like, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
and ever since I've been so much better in social spaces. Like I still have a lot of anxiety, but not so much social anymore because I find I don't know that little piece of advice just really has stuck with me and I always repeat it to people because I'm just like you don't need to be thinking these things because everyone else is doing it too. It's so true.
Right. Totally. And I know you're passionate about sharing your brother's story as well. Do you,
Mhm.
that kind of ties into, correct me if I'm wrong, does that tie into why you're passionate about being a mental health advocate online?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Cool. So
So
what's your story with your brother?
yeah, so like long story short, he took his own life back in 2015, May 12th, after about a week or so, he'd gone missing and just kind of from what
Oh,
we now know, he was kind of just saying his last goodbyes to his friends. Like truly, he was hanging out with his friends. It
oh,
was
that was his version of it. Okay, I get it.
yeah, and so but he wasn't contacting us, anything like that. And then yeah, one night it just happened. But
Yeah.
the thing about him, he never like how do I explain? He was the type of person to refuse that something was wrong with him.
Mhm.
He refused all the like medications, like not all the medication, like he'd go to the ER when something was he was having like an outbreak or something, right?
Mhm.
And he would just refuse to do anything. So they could never just calm him down. He could just never really calm down, I
Mhm.
think. So he never really got any official diagnoses either. So we're not even really sure what was happening. But me and my mom think it was probably like schizophrenia or bipolar, something like that. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
I'm so sorry. And on top of what you're already going through with the social anxiety. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah. So funny enough, actually, I went because they have like child psychiatry places
Mm.
here. And so it was my anxiety was starting to get really bad that I told my mom I need to see like an actual psychiatrist, not just like a counselor at the free
Yes.
place.
Yes,
Yeah.
speaking up. We love a speak
Yeah.
up moment.
Yeah. And so she took that and we went and then I'm not kidding. So I went there, told her about all that was happening. And then the next time I saw her, Sean had gone missing and had passed away.
Oh,
So like my second time meeting her, I was like, yeah, so this has kind of happened.
oh my God.
This poor woman, she definitely did not know what she was walking into that day.
But you didn't either? Like,
No, definitely
oh
not.
my Lord. So, how was she as, a help? Was she helpful?
So, so the plan at my first appointment was to start me on like an antidepressant,
Mm.
and but we had decided after Sean passed and stuff that it wasn't the right moment to be starting something like that. Like just kind of let me process everything first, and mixing in trying a new medication was not gonna mix well with that. So believe I waited, I think around a month. Me and my mom went on a vacation right after. And
Yes.
then and then once we came back and kind of got settled, then I started going to the appointments again. I got put on what is it called? It's one of the like very major ones. I can't remember the name right this second, but it actually made my symptoms worse, unfortunately.
Sometimes
Uh,
they do that. Sometimes it takes it
yeah,
takes a minute to find the right one. That's not unheard of.
the right concoction. They always say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so unfortunately from that I was in the hospital, like the adolescent mental health ward, three
Yeah.
separate times the summer of 2015. Um, but yeah, and then that was my last time. I actually got out on Sean's birthday in 2015.
Mm.
So August 17th was the day I got released and I haven't gone back. So kind of
Well,
was a little full circle.
yeah, that is kind of kooky how that happened. Well,
Yeah.
so do you so it wasn't necessarily that the healthcare you were getting was bad. It was just that, you were pursuing it, your brother wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was kind of tough because like it almost felt like I was taking the help he needed more almost, but not that that was, you know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
like an inside thing that you always, you know.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah.
I'm super proud of the fact that you've, spoken out at all, and that's definitely one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you. Uh,
Mm.
you love talking about beauty and lifestyle as well. I mean, in addition to mental health, what beauty products are you into right now? What like sparked your interest into that world?
Okay. Well, it's funny because it all does kind of come back to either Sean or mental health. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, tell me.
So yeah, so I was in grade 11 when it happened, and our school was actually on a strike at the moment. So we had a couple weeks off when it was happening. So I decided not to go back for the rest of the semester. It was just with everything going on and the medications and stuff, it was
Yeah.
just too much. And there was only, I believe, yeah, it was in May. So May, yeah, there was only like a month left. So they were completely fine with just giving me my midterm mark and all that. Um, so I had a lot of time at home, just like free time, and I loved watching like beauty YouTubers at the time, like
Hmm.
back in 20, like starting 2012, 2015 kind of thing. And so I actually just started making them myself and just kind of practicing. And then I've kind of stuck to it ever since, honestly. It just kind of, I feel, has fit into my life very nicely, and it came at like the perfect time.
Yeah. Do you feel like maybe some of that gave you a bit of a confidence boost, or at least it helped you kind of process what was going on?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. Because I was able to kind of just have this time alone, like in my room, and just play around with
Mm.
something creative and not think about anything else, just kind of blast some music or blast a YouTube video, a podcast, something, and then just be focusing on that one thing and not anything else.
Yeah, it's so funny how that getting ready time is like our zen time for girls. Like it really is. It's
It
like
really is. It truly is.
I'm
It truly is.
preparing for what I'm about to do. I'm preparing for whatever it is I'm getting ready
Yeah.
for. Come inner Beyonce, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's figure it
Yeah.
out.
Yep.
But
I
those
find
moments
even
where we're
getting
prepping,
unready is really nice as well.
that too at
Then it can
nighttime,
like
it's like,
prepare you into a nice little night routine and get all comfy
mhm,
in bed. So
yeah.
that's
Well,
another that's
lately,
sorry, that's a big thing about me is I like to have like little kind of like rituals. I don't know if that's the right word, little routines.
yeah.
That I try to keep consistent daily just to kind of if I'm having an off day, that can just kind of snap me back into what I'm used to, you know?
Super crucial for mental health care, keeping a schedule, keeping somewhat of a routine. Definitely. I learned that when I went through outpatient therapy too. Like I had suicidal ideation and I ended up in an
Mhm.
outpatient program.
Mhm.
Um because the job I had at the time was just wearing on me.
Yeah.
It sucked and I wasn't taking care of myself. So when I got through that, I was like, oh, okay, like the whole therapy program, or at least a portion of it, was like really stressing the importance of having a routine and keeping it, and like identifying whatever it is your anchors are, whether that's like starting your day at the gym,
Yeah.
or that self-care routine, if it's the skin, the
Mhm.
makeup, the hair, the exfoliating in the shower, like
I was
whatever
gonna
it
say,
is.
I even find having like that moment in the shower Like even
Hmm.
if you're in a rush and like that's the only time you can do it, take even just a minute and just like soak in the water and just like almost like a mini like meditation kind of almost,
Yeah.
just to kind of get you ready.
So important. It does kind of feel like meditation. That's a good point.
Yeah,
It
for
does.
sure. For
Well,
sure.
so I know you love a bunch of different beauty products. There's a lot of different things that you're into right now. I've seen you
Mhm.
posting about that. Rare Beauty is the team I'm on right now. I freaking love Rare Beauty. Oh, she's nodding. She's yes.
We love
She's
Rare
got the
Beauty.
hands. We love
Oh
a
yeah,
Rare Beauty moment. We love the fact that they are putting proceeds toward mental health. So
absolutely.
talk to me about how you feel about that line. And I don't know, do you think other beauty brands could and should be doing the same thing?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. I love Rare Beauty. I got the chance to do like a Zoom call. They do Zoom calls with their customers actually.
Fun.
And yeah, and they just talk about like the products and what they do. And it's absolutely incredible. I don't know any other brand that is doing it as good as they are, truly. Like there is a ton of brands that donate a portion of stuff, but I love that they keep the conversation going. They didn't just start the brand and be like, "Hey, this is what we're doing." They've actually kept it up, and each year they do like each I find probably every week they'll post at least 2 to 3 mental health things, which I find is great.
Right. Or there's some sort of like kindness reminder or
Yeah.
some, just or self-care reminder, things like that. What
All
do you
their
think?
shade names are like little affirmation stuff. Like my favorite blush from them is called Encourage. Like
Yeah.
it's
No,
just cute little things like that.
right. Or the pride, like always an optimist primer or whatever. I
Yeah.
have that one.
Yeah.
Love that.
That's a good one
Yes.
too.
So good. Love the names, love the vibe. What do you think that other beauty brands can do to kind of step up to that level?
That is a very good question. Honestly, and I think it boils down to just keeping the conversation going.
Mm.
Because I find, like I said, a lot of brands do kind of make these statements, but then never really follow it up. They'll make a statement, say, "Hey, this is what we're doing," but then never even say, "Hey, we already did this," or even just, "Hey, reminder about this," or something like that, you know? Another brand that does it quite well is Maybelline. They have yeah,
Okay.
they have a Brave Together program that I worked with them on back in 2021, and it was incredible, and it's still going this year as well. It's incredible though. They did I believe it was 60 days, 30 days, and each day they sent out an email, and it was kind of like some affirmations, some journal prompts and stuff like that. And I've been quite impressed by how much they've kept it up as well. They
Yeah.
even have a little animation. I can't remember what it's called, but it's one of their products that they've animated, and he does like little videos of like cheer up and like, "Hi, I'm here to brighten your," you know what I mean? Those little ones. But it's cute.
So it's the constant engagement, and it's like chatting with a friend, or at least
Yeah,
how they're framing the wording behind what they're doing. I would love to see more of that too, just because I feel like, well, geez, especially in the land of consumerism where I am, like we bow down to these companies, and it's like, okay, well, if we want to hold them to such a high esteem, why not also hold them a little bit more accountable for
for sure.
what they're putting out there, if we are gonna take it as seriously as
Especially
we
in the
are.
beauty industry, like
Yeah.
where they're kind of capitalizing off of our insecurities and all this stuff. It's definitely important for them to say, "Hey, we're selling you this stuff that will make you feel more beautiful, but you're already beautiful." You know what I mean? Like you don't necessarily need it. It's more of an enhancement, and it's more of to do it because you enjoy it, not because you feel like you need it.
Yeah. If you think back to the Alana that was just starting with playing with makeup and
Mhm.
tutorials and having all that fun, think back to her then and her now. Somehow you've able to separate that concept in your mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you've been able to say, "Oh, I don't have to buy this quote unquote branding as playing on my insecurity. I can use it as a tool to boost my own confidence."
Mhm.
how were you able to separate the two? Because sometimes people do get it confused.
For sure. I think it's a hard one because I know for me, like I've always been a very creative person and I've loved playing with
Mhm.
color and like I always loved art and drawing and like writing and stuff like that. So I do think part of that has like a connection with the creativity part of makeup. But for people that don't have maybe that creativity and they do only, because I know some people only put on makeup because that's what they were taught to do and that's what
Right.
they thought that they needed to do. um I'd say just to challenge yourself and go out without makeup. And I know that's like
Mm,
very, very, very scary, but it kind of goes back to the whole nobody's really paying attention to you. They're worried about themselves. You know what I mean? It kind of brings it back to that. Like, nobody's gonna notice that you're not wearing makeup. Like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, half of the people you're seeing out in public, they've never seen you before. They're never gonna see more than half the people. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Trust me, Gertrude at the grocery store is way more worried about her milk and trying to get it and
exactly.
take it from the cart before you do, because she's all
Yeah.
about herself, that horrible lady. But
Yes.
yes.
But that doesn't negate the fact that it's super hard to do,
It
right?
is.
Like
It
I,
is.
I do want to acknowledge like it's absolutely super difficult and it doesn't come overnight. But I'd say to also just surround yourself with people that are like-minded and to follow people that are like-minded. That's another thing. I kind of unfollowed a bunch of the more beauty that I was trying to get. Like I was really
Mm,
into big lashes and contour and like matte big lips. And that just wasn't me. That was just what I thought I needed to do because that was popular at the time. Then
mhm,
I started kind of unfollowing them, following more creative people, more people that were having fun with their makeup and not wearing makeup every day, just doing it because they felt like doing it that day. And
mhm.
I felt that I could sense that energy coming from them, even just from like following them online. So I think
Yeah.
that's huge, just surrounding yourself with like-minded people.
Totally. I feel like I have to do the same thing. I'm like, what? This person's making me insecure. Okay,
Yeah.
unfollow. We're not we're not going to do that. Anytime I catch myself comparing myself to somebody else, what for any dumb reason, because they're all dumb, none
Yeah.
of them are real. But I'm like, okay, time to put yourself in check. Let's just take it back and like, you put out there whatever it is you want to put out there, and the followers will come. That's what I
Yeah.
constantly have to tell myself.
Yeah. I always say like I'm gonna put out what I enjoy, and there's no way I'm the only person in the world that would enjoy this. You know what I mean? There's
right.
gotta be some people out there that'll enjoy this. Like I find I have so many little niche interests and stuff that I like to share, even just little tidbits of, and I'm like, someone probably does like people don't care about this. And I'm like, you know what? But probably two people that saw that story were like, yeah, you know what? I have that same little special interest too. And that made me think about it more or something. And I'm like, you know what? That's enough. That's
Yeah.
enough. That two people were like, hey, that's cool that she likes that too, or something.
Yeah. It's fun. I love, that's one of the reasons why I even stay on social media at all, because thankfully I'm pretty lucky in that like most of the people that I follow or follow me are very nice and
Yes.
wonderful. And I'm like, okay, this is the crowd, this is the vibe. We can stay with this. We're good.
Yeah.
Um, so what can we look forward to? Last question. What can we look forward to from you coming soon and on your Instagram, all that good stuff? What should we be excited about?
Well, I did a photo shoot with some of my friends earlier today that
Fun.
will be out probably in the next couple weeks, something like that. But honestly, just more of me, just me just being me. If you want to follow along, I guess. Yeah, I just like to share my outfits and kind of what I'm doing and what I'm feeling at the time and little tips and tricks sometimes and makeup videos. I'm kind of a little hodgepodge of everything I feel online.
Definitely. Well, and you do love showcasing a bunch of different beauty brands. Like,
Oh yeah.
just you try them all. And so for anybody that has no idea where to begin, your page is a great start, because you're like, I tried it all, boo boo. Here's what works. Here's what doesn't work. Here's what I like.
Yeah.
Here's what I don't like. This is what this is. This is what that is. And it's like, oh, okay. She's not like focused on one brand, which
Oh,
I
no, no,
appreciate.
no. Yeah.
Totally
Any
love that.
questions? I'm your gal.
Exactly. Well, Alana, thank you so much. You've done some incredible stuff. Thank you for your advocacy, and I can't wait to see more. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Val. It was so nice finally getting to talk to you.
I know.